and schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.
Good morning, Chris. How are you? I told everybody I'll be going live today, midday, not midday, mid morning or early morning. So this gives enough people to be up. If they're not up, they're probably hiding because they don't want to take the midterm exam, which is basically 3 points about the Haitian TPS extension. So I passed the House, now it has to go through the Senate, which is majority Republican. However, what I'm starting to see is that some Republicans are Democrats in disguise. Got to tell you, they on some bipartisan stuff when it comes to the immigrants. So you just never know how it's going to go. So they had to prepare 3 points on how it would affect the foundational Black American community. If Ayanna Presley, because she was the one who helped to advocate for it, and what would be the predictions of how it would go through the next stage of the process. Which way would it sway? So very easy, very simple. There goes Unc. Very simple to me, but I did look up the answers to my questions. So I have mine prepared to read out. Hopefully I could get a panel going. Hey, FBA Soldier, how are you? Hey, AI, how are you? Hey, App, how are you? Thank you for the likes. My room is private, and so since it's private, you can't gift me. But if you see me on another panel and you're feeling generous, go ahead and shoot me a gift or two. But yeah, so we're going to discuss this. I know Dee Sahara has to work, but she said she want to vent. So, my space is an FBA safe space. And I used to have a segment, come get it off your chest, vent session. So y'all could come up here and vent. There's not going to be any tethers on here that we got to start debating. Every now and then one falls through the crack, because before I made my page private, it was public. And sometimes I forget who's on my page. I didn't really clean it. And then when I realized people were still, on my page and I would start getting them out, then TikTok would shut me down. Like, you got to wait 24 hours to remove any more people. And then I just forget about it. Life be life. And so. But anyway, I think that for the Democrats that we know help push initiatives like this, a lot of them are up for re-election. So I do ask that you check your .gov site, you research your candidates, and start voting some of these people out. Jasmine Crockett can make all the fuss she want. I saw somebody had some news about her. I ain't even worried. She don't have a seat come 2027, correct? Correct. But I'm still a baby and learning about how our government works. I was one who was always voting Democrat. We didn't have that vote blue no matter who. It was just Democrats good, Republicans bad. And But what I'm realizing is when Trump was running against Kamala, I'm telling my mother all the things I found out about Kamala and how we should look at other candidates. Oh, she had a hissy fit. I thought she was going to smack me. Then come to find out, she said she's an independent. I said, you acting like that? We survived Reagan. You're an independent, and you don't even want to look at another party? Oh, we're going to go back in. And I'm looking. She's a boomer. Good morning, Mr. Mike Larry. Peace, peace. And I'm looking at her, and the more that I look at my boomers, right, they raised me. I got to say they did a marvelous job, But I'm not seeing the elders that I saw, when I was younger. We survived Reagan. And I don't know, y'all. I think Reagan was the worst president in my lifetime, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm thinking, and when I hear from other people, when they say they're independent, but they got all these Democrat views, I think they just don't want to be tied to a party, but they're still scared to back Republicans. And I also admit, just because we are independent or we criticize the Democrats doesn't mean that the person has to be a Republican. But they won't even look at the Republicans sometimes, so who knows? Anyway, I don't think anybody in this room right now were the ones I handed the homework assignment to. So if you heard me, I had wanted 3 points on how the 3 year extension would affect foundational Black American communities. How do we think that the majority Republican Senate would vote? Because that's the next stage it goes into. And since Ayanna Pressley was big on champion, along with Yvette Clarke, of course, but it's time to take my focus off of Yvette Clarke because everybody says that's your nemesis, BX. And so it's time to really look at, and Ayanna, from what I could find, is of our lineage. So, just like Jasmine, she shouldn't have a seat. Because we're being, what they say, taxation without representation. So, I don't think we should continue voting in the same manner we have. I'm not going to tell you for the midterms to vote the couch. And if you choose the couch, do it while you're filling in the mail-in ballot. See how that works? Because, well, and especially if you're in a sanctuary city. So New York, Chicago, I want to say Washington, Minnesota, Atlanta's crying. They piping in now. They finding tether problems and issues and the scheme of things as far as their entertainment industry is changing, meaning the Africans are owning like nightclubs and stuff. And there was a video of a man who he was a party promoter and he was getting clientele. He was getting clientele for one of the, African club owners, but the man was disrespectful to his people. So he did an interview about that. So, majority sanctuary cities, and even if you're not a sanctuary city, but you have an entertainment type of thing going on, watch how they're going to do you when the numbers get up. Watch how they treating your people from now. How they're being disrespectful. We could chop it up to cultural norms. They don't know any better, but I ain't gonna feed that energy with y'all any longer. Okay? They know better. Hey, Unc. I was monologuing till somebody joined. Rich
I'm good.
Rising.
How you doing? How you doing this morning?
Uh,
Yep. Same to you. Yep. Just listen to you right now. See what you're talking about.
yeah, I'm talking about this. I gave out homework assignment. I think you was here when I said it. I made a whole post. I wanted 3 points on how the 3 year extension would affect foundational Black American communities. How what is the prediction for the next phase of the extension bill? Because I think it has to go through the Senate, which is majority Republican, but I'm also noticing Republicans with the Dignity Act is bipartisan. And you will see Democrats now openly saying we need our brothers from or sisters from across the aisle, meaning they need the Republicans. So they're asking for Republican help. Hey, Mama Ani and young Mike. So we can't, it'll be interesting. As you can see, it was 10 Republicans here for the first stage of it. And then the last point was about Ayanna Pressley. She championed the extension, right? And she champions a lot of immigrant causes. From what I could find, she is of the lineage, but she's also up for re-election. A lot of them are. And so it's time to shake up the Democrats. They got to go. So if they're pushing primarily immigrant causes, then we're suffering from ethnocide, benign neglect, and taxation without representation. All of that got to stop. So that's what I was monologuing a bit about. But I also wanted now interject Summerlee had an exchange with Robert F. Kennedy. She was saying, how are Black mothers supposed to get maternal health care if we can't say the word Black? Robert F. Kennedy was saying, well, Trump wants the DEI and this and that. They're both playing in our faces, right? Because we do know the Caribbean and the Haitians, for some reason, Haiti is just like this lone man standing. They could be Caribbean, they could be Latino, but the Caribbean usually takes on Haiti's cause because Africa won't. But they have programs, maternal programs, medical programs, clinics, refugee settlement type of medical programs. They're playing in our face because she knows that race based is not going to fly. She's using the blanket term black to tether on everybody when she should be saying black Americans. She got to know this. And Summer Lee is also one who I saw once Donald Trump got in office, dangling the carrot of reparations. She wasn't doing that when Biden and Harris was in office. And I got to tell you, she looks more sister girlish than who's that, Jasmine? She looks more relatable to me. She looks like I could sit at a table with her and Kiki and haha over drinks at lunch or after work. So I want the word out about her that she knows what she's doing and he knows too. And meanwhile, we're just hanging in the wind. So go ahead, Unc. What do you think?
Well, who will we run against? Who's of the lineage replacement to run against him?
I didn't get that far yet, but Sister Keita, if she shows up, has been doing some extensive research. It
Well,
is for Detroit, but I want her to explain how she's going about it so that way maybe it'll light the fire under some other people.
yeah, yeah. Because the thing is this: when we find unethical lineage wheat thins, we have to be ready to replace them with our grassroots person. You know, so because other than that, if she's up for re-election, she's probably gonna get it if the people don't know what kind of snake she is or don't give a damn. They just want to keep yes people in there so that they can continue the bullshit that they're doing, right? So we have to begin to solidify and pick candidates to run against them. And it's hard even to run in the Democratic Party because you have to sell your soul to the demons to even be considered. You know, they're going to take you through. Are you going to be Team Democrat no matter how fucked up shit is, and no matter how much we know it ain't right? Are you willing to join that team? So that means that any grassroots person will more likely have to run as a Republican, but then up in New York and places like that, it's very difficult to do that because it's a Democrat-run sanctuary city. You know, so it's a catch-22. But some kind of way you may have to disguise yourself as a Democrat, right? Loyal to the cause, whatever the fuck you got to do to get in. And then when you get in, and if they get behind you, put money behind you, once you get in the seat, you could do whatever the hell you want to do from that point, you know. But we have to begin to look for people in every state, every city that we can now put in these seats for our people, you know. So yeah, that's kind of where we call it. That's the catch in all this stuff, right? So
So can I tell you what was one of my strategies for one of the last elections? I voted primarily, but when I saw, oh, it was the mayors. When I saw that Eric Adams, they told me Eric Adams wouldn't be on the ballot, right? But Eric Adams was actually on the ballot. But I don't think I didn't want him either, right? But however, what I did for everybody else was I voted Republican except for when it came to the court system. Say they had a judge that was going in or up, something with the had to do with the courts. I went for the lone black American. Well, her name is Black American. I really, but my hope with that was this, and she's a Democrat, for her to be a little more lenient on our folks. We do need a black person in there. I got to tell you, because Republicans are hard on crime. That was my strategy. So I basically down balloted. Is that what it's called? The Republicans, because I believe for New York, we're gonna need a Republican to get this shit into shape. Now that's just my personal belief. And young lady did emerge. She didn't really say she was flip red, but she kind of was talking against the Democrats and stuff. This happened during the last election, but it didn't go nowhere. And something about her just didn't connect with me. I don't even know if she was just doing that for show. I don't know. I haven't seen her again. But that's one strategy I used until we can get somebody to oppose. Like, if I went up and I researched this, I would have had to have, I think, 45,000 signatures by this month. to run up against Richie Torres. Now, Richie Torres is an Afro Latino. He's on, I believe, the Hispanic caucus, but he's also on the Black caucus or some shit, right? So he's just double stepping. And I would have been like the Bronx, where his position is in the Bronx. So I was thinking logically, I was talking to Simon, and I could gear up for next year to come back against him if it's or next term, right? So everybody's like BX. They either want me to be a professor or be a politician. I could do both. But yeah, so we do have to get serious about that. And strategy, really, even though I just gave that voting strategy for the last election I did, I wouldn't suggest y'all do it. Please research your candidates, right? Um, That's something we really have to talk about in the back chat. I probably would need your guy again, just to find out how it goes. What do when you canvassing? What do people look for? What do they like? Simon canvassed before too, but I don't know if he canvassed New York. He's New York adjacent, really. He's not really in the city.
Hmm. Yeah. We have to from once we focus this to me right now. It's getting everybody's mind set on midterms and keeping the hill. And then after that, we got to start looking for candidates to me to run in the 2020, 28 elections. We got to be locked and loaded with whoever's going to run in whatever cities. We got to start finding because you can't trust the blue, right? If they put too much pressure on the person in the seat, they use fold, right? So to me, we have to start looking for real candidates and gearing up after we secure that we still have the hill. Because if we lose the hill, then it's going to be a whole nother strategy we're going to have to come up with. I mean, it's going to get ugly in America. It's going to get ugly, So to keep that from happening, we have to make sure that we keep the Republicans the majority in the seats, and that's what's on the chessboard right now, and because we're not in position to put our people in position to run for any of these seats right now. So, but between midterms ending and we win, we got to 100% focus on who's going to be running and charging the young folk. It's time for y'all to start looking at becoming the people in these seats. Not just out here getting the knowledge, but if we don't have the seats, it don't mean shit. None of this stuff means nothing. So that's my strategy. I do it in phases, and phase two to me is the midterms, uh, and then we can start doing all this other stuff, getting people prepared for seats and stuff like that.
So I think I have to no. Okay, so they do the primaries in April in New York, and then November we vote. What do you say we should do since we now for the vote? Because we're not canvassing for anybody else to
Well,
get in that
well,
seat.
then you got to canvass the community. You
What do you
have
mean?
you have to get people to see what we're seeing. Right now, they don't. They just vote blue no matter who, because they
Okay.
know it's a problem, but they don't know how to fix the problem. We know what the problem is, but they don't have the information that we got. So you got to
Right.
start going out and knocking on some doors, putting some papers in there, and asking them what are they really getting out of this shit. And right now, and this is the thing, they have scared our people into voting red. Like it's like if you vote red, like you some type of sellout, because most of our people don't understand. We're coming to take back our red, right? We're coming to take back our country. We got out of place when we had the red party to go against the blue party and jump ship. And now we got to let people know that you got two sides. There ain't gonna be nobody else running. It's red or blue right now. Those are the dominant parties, and you got to let them see what the blue party is doing. And the only way you can let motherfuckers know that they're not doing you right is that sometimes you got to go date the other girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So to me, how do you show motherfuckers that they you don't appreciate what they doing? You go date the girl that they don't like, right? And say now, and not only just date her,
Damn, uncle. I ain't like that answer, but go ahead.
I'm just saying you gotta let her know that no, I don't
Mm,
appreciate you no more. I'm done with you. And what pisses off more is the chick that's been looking at you and you ain't been paying no attention because you was focused on her. So now I'm gonna go to the girl who you'd hate the worst. It's almost like what LeBron James did. He said he's taking his talents elsewhere. Why? Because Cleveland didn't appreciate what they had and they didn't want to put nothing around for him to get a championship. So what did he do? He didn't even leave the conference that he was in. He stayed in the conference and went to one of the teams most rival teams that Cleveland could have ever had. Pissed them off. Right? So that's what we doing. Ain't no sitting down. You got to play political chess, and those are the chess pieces on the table, red and blue. And so we got to keep red, because if not, all that 14th Amendment stuff we celebrating and anything else we think we celebrating will instantly go the fuck away. And I don't
yeah.
know no nice way to say it. You know what I mean? It's just, this is where we are. These are the cards. So you got to play the game the way the game is dealt. Right now, 100% of our focus should be on spending time going on, knocking on these doors in the Democrat area and letting them know, giving them something to read, giving them something to research.
Right. So you mean like create like a newsletter, a brochure,
where
just
where it's
an
an
infographic.
it's an information letter, like the
Yeah.
the, the reason, even if you got to put a line down the middle on what the Republicans, how the Republicans can help. Right, this is not
Mhm.
getting you to say you need to be Republican, but how can the Republicans help us get what we want? You got to use what you got, and then give the reasons why the Democrats are not helping us get what we want, in some type
Mhm.
of paper that they could look at and clearly see the reasons. Enough for them to
I'm on it. Mhm.
at least enough for them to, when they get to the poll, to have a different thought process, right? When they going in, other than just, I don't even know the red, I don't like the red, I don't like Trump, but yet the blue has done more damage to our communities than the red has ever done. The red ain't even really paid us no attention, to be honest with you. They just do
Right.
what they do. And it just so happened to not benefit black people because ain't no black people even trying to date them. There's no reason. There's no reason for them to figure out what we gonna do for black people. Black people show
Right.
their loyalty to the other side, and they tell you that shit too if you talk to them. Man, y'all been
Mhm.
loyal to them blue people for a long time. Like,
Mhm.
we don't even know if we can trust y'all.
Right.
So that's just my opinion on how I'm looking at it, right?
Mhm.
And like I said, I'm not a red and I'm not a blue. I just look at the pieces on the table, and I use them pieces accordingly.
Mhm. Yeah. And then you have a lot of people like me was just voting Democrat, and I, thinking Democrat good, Republican bad.
Right.
Oh, the Democrats can't pass nothing because it's majority Republicans in control over here and there, But I gotta tell you, I started my political awakening, 2016 when it was not Harris, Clinton versus Trump, and I was on that, Trump this, Trump that. Well, not really. So yeah, I was on that. Oh God, no, not Trump. Oh God, Hillary called the super predators. But what? Lesser of two evils was the mindset. And I still cast a vote for Hillary. But after I cast that vote and felt like shit, I was like, I can't do this. The Democrats no longer deserve my person, my name in their numbers. And I quietly left and went into the non-party voting category. So that started my political awakening. I didn't have the wealth of information, but I knew that what a super predator was and bias and stereotypes and how that was harmful. And then the mentioning of the crime bills started coming out and stuff, and I was like, oh, I can't do neither one of them. So I joined the non-party, and now it's like, okay, I'm still learning. I'm still a baby in it, but I'm still in action. In action. I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe you could do some meetups, like the library or something, places, recreation center or something, where you put out flyers and invite people to come out and speak about the midterms. You ain't got to say red or blue. Just say we're gonna talk about the winning ways to win the midterms. And most people gonna think because you black, you mean blue.
You know that.
So, but you trick bagging them, right? You gonna get them in there and start the conversation off about the blue, but then let them
Mm.
know, then cleverly sneak in that. But this is why we must keep
All right,
the
don't say too much that strategy. You know I put my panels on YouTube, but I think I wear a nice earth tone color that's neutral.
yeah, all that,
Or
yeah. Hey, give me a second.
I
I
just
gotta
wear,
make a stop right quick.
iPad.
I'll be right back.
No
That's right.
problem,
I
no problem.
forgot you do to send this over to YouTube. It ain't totally
Mm,
covert, right?
mm. No, but you know, on YouTube it's a different demographic, and they kind of like when they hear us. I got some good feedback from a few people. They like to hear it. They just don't know how to work TikTok or Twitter. They're YouTube heads, and that's fine. Yeah. So while Unc is handling his business, I see some of my attendees. I don't want to call y'all students because we all learn together. Dread, do you have your exam? And now he's gonna act like he had to walk the dog or something. Like and the problem is he has a private account. So I only know when he in the room when he comments. Would anybody like to join and answer the questions, the midterm exam questions? Pretty easy. I'm asking for 3 responses, right? The first one is based off of how does the TPS extension affect, how will it affect the foundational Black American community? What are your predictions for the next phase it has to go through the Senate, which is majority Republican? However, we see Republicans being Democrats in disguise. They're voting across the aisle. And Ayanna Pressley did champion for this initiative along with Yvette Clarke, but we got to start turning our sight. I have to start turning my sights to other candidates who are just as problematic. Ayanna Pressley is one, Summer Lee is another. We know about Karen Bass, AOC. Like all these people are up for re-election. Unc wants us to focus on after the midterms, right? Us getting our ass in seats. But if nobody wants to come up, I'll read the responses that I have, and then I'll go ahead and shut down so that those who are here, because I know this is around the time like D or Black American, they start going live, plus other content creators. So I won't keep you all day, and thank you y'all for being supportive and stepping in and stopping by for the likes and stuff and listening to me. And you know Simon is in trouble, right? Dread is in trouble. Basic, because I know he was up. He didn't even peek in here. And let me see. Keita, I don't know what Keita's doing. Sometimes she has to, step out with her baby. So she might be the only one with a medical excuse. And Dread ain't even peek his head out here. Okay. I know he in the room though. Who's liking the live? Vic. Hi, Vic. So, um, based off of the points that I just stated, what was produced, right? Impact on the foundational Black American community, the dilution of lineage-specific resources, and siphoning from our set-asides. So, one of our concerns, right, is the siphoning. When they have things specifically for them, however, when we have things that should be specifically for us, here they come, just dip it into our pot, right? And so stuff like that has to end. With the TPS extended stay, they still get to work even if that work card was expired. They still get a way to make money receive, you see what the California's doing, Karen Bass giving the immigrants money because they're scared of ICE. We see Jaya Paul, I think that's her name, asking for reparations because people feel like they were harmed by ICE. I could imagine what the Haitians are going to ask for, but the fact that they get to remain here, work here, and act like temporary means permanent. They have all these nonprofits that fund each other, right? This is how we get locked out in New York. Um, and they have Yvette Clarke championing them. When somebody talks about black maternal health care, okay, the Haitians in the Caribbean, I'm sure that she means them too. However, they have health programs specifically for them. So it's like they dilute our pot. And even when we say, oh, yeah, black people have this program, it's not disaggregated, it's not delineated. People are double and triple dipping. So one of the concerns of ours should be the dilution of lineage specific resources. And I do have um, email campaign that's focused on the global appropriations of our reparations. I do not want them mentioning our collective net worth. Saying they should have anything similarly to foundational Black Americans, meaning our civil rights coverage and the programs that's supposed to be just for us. Because truth be told, they got too many for themselves. So, labor and market displacement and wage stagnation. So, honest economic data indicates that large-scale extensions of work authorizations for immigrant groups can create downward pressure on wages in sectors where the FBA foundational Black American, put some respect on the name, right? Community is heavily represented. Okay, let me read that again, y'all. Honest economic data indicates that large-scale extensions of work authorizations for immigrant groups can create downward pressure on wages in sectors where the foundational Black American community is heavily represented, such as construction, service, and entry-level healthcare. By legalizing a large pool of labor through 2029, the bill effectively bypasses the need for employers to increase wages or improve working conditions for the native-born foundational Black American workforce. This is often viewed as a win for corporate interests and immigrant advocacy groups, but a direct loss for the foundational Black American community's economic bargaining power and job security. And I got to tell you, if you, and shout out to Chichia because she's the one who brought the letter to my attention, a letter from Coretta Scott King to Senator Hatch. The letter, I believe, was in 1986 or 1989, right? It was in the 80s. And she was saying the same thing about immigration. The harms that it does to the foundational Black American community, and how it allowed the Latinos to be exploited, how it drove down wages, how there were 7 million people unemployed in the country. Why did they need illegal immigrants? And that it condoned discrimination against Black Americans, okay? And when we say Martin Luther King really wasn't for open immigration the way we see it today, people honestly don't believe us when we say something of that sort. However, a wife, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, will usually carry on her husband's work. So it's not too far-fetched to read her letter and believe that MLK would have thought the same. And y'all could go look up the letter on your own, right? It's called The Forgotten Letter. And it's a letter from Coretta Scott King to Senator Hatch, Hatch. Mm-hmm. And y'all can get the correct verbiage and, make your own informed decision from there. And so the third point I want to touch on for the how it will harm foundational Black American communities is that erasure of distinct ethnic identity. So the push for the Haitian TPS extension often relies on a shared Blackness narrative, and that's a narrative that erases the distinct autonomy of the foundational Black American community. Advocates note that this conflation allows politicians to claim they are helping the Black community while actually serving the interests of a separate ethnic group with a different historical trajectory. This appropriation of the foundational Black American struggle, using the language of civil rights, we see that with the Somalis in Selma, the Pettus Bridge, right? That's what it's called. And okay, so the disappropriation of the foundational Black American struggle, using the language of civil rights and emancipation to secure benefits for non-lineage groups, is seen as a strategic move to maintain a permanent underclass by ensuring that foundational Black Americans' specific legislative goals, like lineage-based reparations, are never given a dedicated platform. Let me see. I see some comments. Hi, Alabamian. How are you? What happened? I did my homework, but I don't like class presentations. I'm going to inbox it to you, Professor Ma'am. Okay, and that's Ife. And that's fine, Ife. Thank you. Thank you. So I might just give you some extra credit. So now, legislative outlook, the Republican Senate. Let's see. I'm kind of in a toss up about that, but I did go to my AI overview deep dive mode, right? And so the projections are from the experts and political analysts. They anticipate that HR 1689 will be DOA. That's DEAD on arrival in the Senate. Senate stance. The Republican majority has consistently signaled a border-first policy and views TPS as a temporary measure that has been illegally extended into a permanent residency program. Veto threat. Even if a handful of moderate Republicans join Democrats, as seen in the House vote, the White House has already signaled a definitive veto. The GOP strategy is to let the Supreme Court decide on the administration's right to terminate the program later this year, rather than granting a legislative extension through 2029. Let me read it again. The GOP strategy is to let the Supreme Court decide on the administration's right to terminate the program later this year, rather than granting a legislative extension through 2029. Now let's delve into Miss Ayanna Pressley, okay? So, this is what the overview cited. I say that it's not beneficial for foundational Black Americans to keep her represent in a representative seat at all. No second chances. And meanwhile, she had like 50 million already, right? Because I remember when that squad got in, it was her, AOC, Ayanna. It was Idion. It was Jayapal. And look how all of them turned out. But I already said, I did, my intuition. I don't be wrong. I just be early. People don't want to hear what I be having to say. So it'd be really hard to get people on board with like boycotts and stuff. And that was like the 2015s, the 16s, 17s and stuff. Now I'm right on time, right? But I always knew there was going to be a headache. I was like, don't like it. Not at all. Look at how they turned out. And I believe that's all the members that I had looked at, and they were calling themselves the squad when they first got in. I think they even interviewed on like the Breakfast Club and all of that. Yeah. So I'm not for Ayanna Pressley at all. She's also on the Caribbean caucus, y'all. Why? Let that sink in. Her and Maxine Waters. So, and I keep trying to get through this. Let me stop dialoguing. So, evaluation of Ayanna Pressley. Whether Ayanna Pressley is beneficial to keep in office is a point of contention for many foundational Black American advocates. Primary focus. Her record shows a heavy emphasis on immigrant-specific justice, as seen in her leadership of the Haiti Caucus. She on the Haiti Caucus? This is the first time I'm hearing it, y'all. Yup, oh Lord. Hey, 713 Phenom. Hey, nephew. Oh Lord, it's right. I didn't even know she was on the Haiti caucus. I just quickly pulled this up and ran to class because I didn't want, get sidetracked modding and stuff. I wanted to be a woman of my word. So okay, I'm learning with y'all. Dang, let me read this again. Primary focus. Her record shows a heavy emphasis on immigrant specific justice as seen in her leadership of the Haiti caucus and her use of a discharge petition to force the TPS vote. The conflict. While she utilizes the rhetoric of justice and equity, her actions frequently prioritize the needs of immigrants over the specific lineage based demands of her FBA constituents. The verdict for advocates. For those focused on foundational Black American lineage, her advocacy for the Haitian extension is often viewed as a betrayal of the native born Black, they say Black population, but I'm going to say as betrayal of the native born foundational Black American population in her district, which is Massachusetts 07. Keeping her in office may be seen as detrimental if the goal is to elect representatives who will prioritize a lineage-based agenda over broad pan, and they use the word Pan-African, over broad Pan-African or immigrant-centered policies. I'm with the majority who says that she's problematic and she should definitely be voted out. Hey, hey, hey! That yeah, I knew you was gonna peek your head in. Dread, do you have your homework, family? That's I knew he was gonna do that. Okay, so I did give homework, right? A lot of people think I should be a professor on this. You know, some of them call me Professor Nephew. So I named my room the Echo Chamber, an FBA Safe Space University. And this is the midterm exam. And Dred here, since he has a private account, I only know he's in the room when he comments. And I called him up to do his homework. And the homework was this, nephew. I wanted 3 responses to these questions. How would the Haitian TPS extension affect the foundational Black American community? What are the predictions for how the Senate will vote? Because that's the next step of the 3-year extension. It passed the House, now it's moving into Senate. And is it beneficial? The last one was, is it beneficial to keep Ayanna Pressley, who championed the extension, along with, Yvette Clarke, but I'm trying to focus on other folks here now. Is it beneficial to keep her in Congress when she's primarily immigrant focused? So those were the 3 points that I wanted responses for. That was a part of the midterm exam. This is midterm exam part A. There will be a part B in the future. So I don't know if you want to come up, if you can, and just
Hey,
give your answer.
BX,
Yeah,
what was the
yeah.
first one?
The first one was how would the Haitian TPS extension affect the foundational Black American community?
Well, it would continue to affect it the way that it's affecting it now. It just gives them 3 more years to be all up in our shit, and 3 years you could do a lot of damage. Putting things in order for you. I'm pretty sure those people probably are some kind of way sneakily voting, right, in New York, because you don't have to have ID or you don't have anything. So they also would be a part, 350,000. I don't know where they located at, but whatever that number is, that's 300,000 people who would be voting Democrat. It affects us badly. So, yeah, that needs the Senate. And it also, I want y'all to realize, it says 10 Republicans voted for this shit. Those 10 Republicans are not American first at all. Just like the 204, just like the 213 Democrats are not for us at all. So you got to look at who's voting for this shit that harms our people. And so those Republicans need to be put on record. I think I got their emails and their numbers in the states that they are, and they need to hear from the grassroots on how disappointed we are in these so-called American first individuals, right? And so it can't just go and they don't get no pushback, because if we get pushback on them, and it goes down the Republican line that we have said we we're not satisfied. It makes now the House Republicans have to start thinking, oh shit, these some people out here. You just got to let them know we out here. And for that, yeah, it will continue, and those numbers can be used in our voting process. Unfortunately, right? So, what was the second one?
The second one was the prediction on if it would pass the Senate, which is majority Republican.
Yeah, that's gonna be a real telltale. Like the ancestors told us in 2020 that every person who is against the lineage would be exposed. 10 just showed them their hand with the voting that they did. And depending on how these Republicans vote on this shit, they will be exposed too as enemies to American first individuals. You either for America or you not. Because if you're for America and the TPS is up, then why are you voting to extend something that we've already given grace to? This shit is crazy. But we can't sit back and just let them vote any kind of way they want to vote without them getting some type of written letter from Arthur or whoever. Somebody need to be sending each one of these candidates each a letter of how we are not pleased with the way that they voted for Black American Foundation of Black American First people on this soil. So
Yeah. And do you remember the third and final
I think I talked
response?
on the third one first. Remember I said
Yeah.
we got to have somebody got to, if we ain't got no candidates going against her, then you got to at least go out into the streets and let the family know why they shouldn't be voting for this person to be in
Hmm.
office. They may not vote for her. That'd be just as bad as voting for red. If they don't vote for her, push for them not to vote for her, because we don't really have nobody on the red side anyway, and we don't have a person to replace her on the blue side. Even if we're not blue, we don't have a candidate ready yet to slate for that seat. So
Correct. Correct. Hi Mila. Hi Hot Tub. Hi Chris. I see y'all entering. If you were tagged in a post and I said that there was homework for the FBA Safe Space University, the midterm. Oh, hi Salon Pisces. I know you got my homework. Correct, Salon? You was here when I mentioned homework, weren't you? Just came to show some love, BX. Ah, thank you. Thank you. She's taking another program study,
yes,
y'all.
I'm
She's
gonna move
majoring in
around.
something
Appreciate you.
else. No, you don't have your homework or you wasn't here. Okay, so it's very easy. It's based off the prompt. Did you hear that the Haitians had a 3-year TPS extension? It passed the House. 10 Republicans voted for it in the House, but now it has to go through the Senate, which is majority Republican. But as you can see, some Republicans aren't really standing on Republican business, if you ask me. So I need to stop skipping my class. Yeah, you do need to stop skipping, but this is common sense, honestly, right? It's just a discussion broken down. Um, so that was the first point, right? How do you think it would affect our community with them having an extension for 3 years? Then the second question was, the how do we think it would do in the Senate? And the third question was, since Ayanna Presley, who I can't find any indication she's not of the lineage, championed the TPS extension, along with Yvette Clark, but I do have to keep an eye and a pulse on the other candidates. Like, would it be beneficial to keep her as a representative? And she's based out of Massachusetts, y'all. So if you want to come up and just address those 3 points and vent, because I know when you going to vent, you can. If not, I'll shut it down. Dread peeked his head in here talking about he got his days mixed up. Yeah, uh-huh. Salon Pisces says yes, she got to go. And she also says she needs to stop skipping her classes. Thank you for the likes and everything. You can't gift this room because I opted to remain private. And with the transfer and ownership, if you have a private page, they won't allow you to be gifted. But this is a true echo chamber. It's a true FBA safe space. Sometimes lineage will come in. And sometimes people will argue. But for the most part, that doesn't really happen because I removed a lot of people from my timeline. I'm like queen of the block, okay? Uh, so, but still, sometimes things get out of my control, but we are in the FBA safe space. Here's where you can vent. I ask that we don't strategize too much because we still have to move and stuff, and I still put my panels on YouTube because there's a demographic over there who don't want to come to TikTok. They're not necessarily on Twitter, but they're comfortable being in spaces on YouTube. So they do get to hear this. They get to hear another side of what foundational Black Americans on TikTok is discussing and things like that. So this is an educational space. And sorry, I had to go on mute real quick. This is an educational space. I am a journalist. My job is to inform. And I also have calls to actions. I'm going to go ahead and drop those in the link. Copy them to your clipboard. Sign and share them, please, if you're in agreement with them. And I have more calls to actions to come. I also have one where I ask you to call your representative and tell them to vote no to the Dignity Act. You late. You are late, Mr. Kingpin.
I was here. I was here. I was wondering. I was wondering why you didn't see my comments. I was commenting the whole time.
The prompt is kind of hard to read. And then sometimes I was looking at my computer just so I could stay focused because, you know, I tend to go left. I pivot my own point, go into another point, and then got to bring it all around. So I was trying to stay focused. It is an exam today. Are
Yeah.
you prepared?
Well, I don't. Well, yes, I'll say yes. Uh, I lost track of my days. I remember you told me to be ready for Wednesday, and I kind of forgot.
I should be hurt because, you know, people remember what they care about.
I mean, oh, hold on, hold on. I care. You know, I care
Thank
deeply.
you, Brad.
So what was the first? What was the first question?
How do you think that the Haitian TPS extension would affect the foundational Black American community?
Um, I think it will not affect the foundational Black American communities. That's my personal opinion. I think it will affect very specific community, South Florida communities, foundational Black American communities, perhaps. But for the most part, it won't affect us. I think South Florida is going to possibly go through a shift where these people, it could go one or two ways. They could lash out at Black Americans for not supporting them, or they could, take their slice of humble pie and kind of, try to, become close, to the Black Americans in South Florida, because honestly, that's where most of them are. I honestly don't know any Haitians. we had one Haitian teacher in high school, and he was the only Haitian person that I probably have ever known, and he had really bad breath. But so, what was the second question?
The second question was the extension passed the House, right? And we see that 10 Republicans, if you look at the prompt, 10 Republicans voted across the aisle to vote yay to extend it. But now it has to pass through the Senate. The Senate is majority Republican, but I'm not too sure who's a secret Democrat on the Republican side because I've seen another initiative that is a bipartisan effort. Is that how you call it? Bipartisan effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your predictions? Do you think it will pass or stall in the Senate floor?
I think it will. I think it will stall. I don't think they will have enough support on the Senate floor if it's Republican led. I think it. I think it. I think it will. I could be wrong, but I think it'll stall. Fingers crossed. I hope so. Because politically, you have to follow up on your threats. You know what I'm saying? If the threat was, hey, these people got to get the hell up out of here, by a certain date, then you got to follow up on it. Otherwise, your word means absolutely nothing. So, so I think it has to happen. I think it should happen that they, shoot down the extension. However, I don't know the moving parts behind the scenes because, like you said, there were some people that crossed the aisle and supported keeping these people, here for 3 more years. So I'm not sure what kind of backroom, back alley deals and transactions have taken place to cause a shift where Republicans are supporting TPS to be extended for Haitians. And honestly, let's talk about it. About the Haitian impact in American communities. These are not pillars of our communities for the most part. I had a teacher, and I never took his class. It was a Spanish class. He taught Spanish. There was one teacher in my high school that was Haitian. But for the most part, these are not people that we know of. Oh yeah, there's Haitian doctors everywhere, Haitian lawyers, Haitian community activists that are in the community being leaders. No, it's not happening. These people are not impacting our communities. And I'm keeping it real with you. We, for the most part, will not experience any difference in or change in our lives when they go back to Haiti. And I'm just keeping it real. It may sound harsh, but they don't impact our lives on a daily basis in any way, in any tangible way at all. We're talking about people who are, pretty much waking up, brushing their teeth and going to work and then coming back home. And that was the goal of, the Haitian immigrants, early on. And that's the reason there was tension between Haitian immigrants in South Florida, because a Black American had been unalived by police. And this is like in the 1980s. And there are articles about the tension between the Haitian community and the Black American community. I'll look it up before I get off the panel. But a young man was unalived by the police, and the Haitians were doing, interviews and things like that. And they were talking to the cameras. And they were like, "Hey, we don't want to be involved in it. This has nothing to do with us, and we don't want no trouble." And the Black American community said, "Man, what kind of cowards and COONs are these people?" And so their whole goal was to put their head down, bury their heads in the sand when they come here, and just work a job. That was their goal. So they have not impacted our communities at all. We won't feel a thing if they leave. I just wanted to
I feel
point that
like
out.
dropping you.
Say again?
Oh, you mean if they leave? But here, I would argue that okay, so New York, it has a Haitian immigration population too. I don't think you was in Dynasty's room when we were sitting in the town hall call. It was Yvette Clark, Hakeem Jeffries, And so I did focus on Ayana during this live, but Yvette Clark is actually the head ringleader for Haiti, right? She's on the Haitian caucus too, the Caribbean caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus. She pushed to get that TPS, and she pushed for the extension. Her and Hakeem Jeffries held the town hall call where they were talking to clergy and other and to Haitians who have things like nonprofit organizations. Those nonprofits request legislation, and remind you they won't help foundational Black Americans get a delineation vote. I think if since they're doing that, we're Black American too. They are taking our set aside, so they could very well want to go to Spelman. They could very well want to go to what's the other one, Morgan? Like they could very well want to go to
Morehouse.
Howard. So
Yeah.
they affect us here too in the workforce as well. So any place with a diverse population, we're going to be affected if they stay here. But overall, they are coming to the South, to the schools, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So I think that maybe culturally in the streets and stuff, but systemically, they all are harm to me. Because all they got to do is wait for their numbers to get up. You know, I moved to Georgia in 2016. So my older children never really been my daughter has been to Maryland, right? But my oldest son, he never really been to the South, right? He was planning to go, but it was like a relationship thing and he really didn't want to live with no woman, right? So he's still in New York. But me and my
Mhm.
youngest child, we have went down to the South. And we went to Georgia in 2016, right? I used to live there when I was a little girl with my granny, right? Before first grade, and she sent me back to my dad. But I'm saying all that to say this. I was surprised when I heard a Jamaican construction worker working outside my balcony. They're in the South. We know Sebin was born in, and these are Jamaicans I'm talking about, but there were Latinos down there too. I was in DeKalb County, Decatur.
Mhm.
Decatur, where it's greater. Is that DeKalb? Decatur, where it's greater. I was on Candler Road for people who think I may be lying. But there were Latinos down there, okay, working in the supermarket. And there was some Jamaican construction workers working on my building, the building I was residing in. Well, the complex, I
Yeah.
call it complex. Yeah. So all they need is to get their numbers up. They already got a presence down there. They're already working in some places. Thank you. Hot Tub Tony says, yeah, that's Cal. I'm just trying to warn y'all as a New York I see. Now, I'm a kind of shedding the Pan African thing, Pan Africanism ideals, and I see how they locking us out in certain places. So I don't want us to get in the mindset, well, they're not really in our area. So, only place that may be affected is South Florida and New York, right? We're all going to be affected. Why? Because they're coming down to the South. Some are staying, some are going to school. There's somebody in Texas who was saying they're Southern. And then, or was that Monica that told the story? Somebody told us a story that they were noticing something strange about the person, but the person was saying they're Southern. Come to find out, they was a whole immigrant. No foundational Black American anything in their background. So I just want to kind of us to kind of keep an eye on them. They may not be there now, but they're all harmful if they're in this country and they could get on podcasts. And it was the Haitians that brought the diaspora attention to mine. So I may be biased, right? So it was the two ladies dressed in aesthetics talking about they need a man with culture. Black Americans don't have culture. And we can't forget the young lady who just said dirty Black Americans and nobody even offended her. They probably treated her nicer than they treated anybody else. I got to see the dining, the dining area. Did they have some little cupcakes and what they gave her as a beverage? They probably treated her really well until she said that shit, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. The Haitians are a problem. Dre, they be on this app. They really believe that shit.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
did I misunderstand what you said? Maybe because I took it like you felt like only South Florida would be the ones impacted if the Haitians stayed.
I think they will be the most impacted. I think that's the best way to put it. Um, I think when you think about the concentration of how many Haitians are in South Florida, um, that's where they're really gonna feel. the impact of TPS status either being extended or ending. Um, so, and what was the last question?
That was it. Oh, well, it was about Ayanna Presley. Is she beneficial to keep around? We see that she's on the Haitian caucus, the Caribbean caucus, and the CBC, and she's
I
immigrant specific when on in her what she pushes for.
I think she's wishy washy. Um, so she could be the FBA that sat by the door. You know, she could be because all of those people cross over into the overarching CBC Congressional Black Caucus. So perhaps she's going and infiltrating their spaces and saying, hey, you know what, if y'all can do it, I can do it too. And unless she's truly like of Caribbean descent, which I don't think she is. But so she could be doing her the FBA that's sat by the door thing. I'm not sure, but one thing I can say is that she does support that bill that has not gone anywhere, HR 40. She's an HR 40 supporter, and we know that HR 40, from the little research that I've done, I haven't read the entire bill. Um, it's just a bill to study reparations, not implement reparations. I think we should be beyond studying right now. I think our politicians that are foundational to America need to be pushing for actual implementation of reparations. There have been, numerous studies that have been conducted by universities, by other reparationists and researchers. We can take the data from these previous researchers. We don't need to keep pushing HR 40, um, because honestly, at this point, it's starting to become symbolic to make it look like the Dems are trying to do something for Black Americans. They get out there, they do a whole press conference. We need to get this bill passed. It's time. It's been such however many years, and HR 40 to study the effects of reparations and blah blah blah. That the time to study is over. The study has been done, like I said, multiple times. If you aren't pushing for implementation of reparations, then it's all symbolic. So if we don't have her, then who will it be? Who will take that spot? Most likely, if it's a Dem, then it's going to be someone who does the exact same type of things, has the same type of strategies, and I'll go ahead and land there.
You got a passing grade today. You did. So Uncle's here, and you probably know him as Real One or Cool Water,
Yeah.
and he basically brought up that final point you were saying, who would take her place. So, without getting into too much strategy, we have to inform others about the midterm, right? Because the goal is to shake up the Democrats, for me at least, right?
Hmm.
It sometimes it's not about the win, but it's if the message is received. So we don't want no more dangled carrots. We're going to give them such a problem that even if they remain in office, they know they got to give something tangible, right? We got to do that. We can't just we're black. Who can win anything? We're black. I'm tired of that shit.
Right.
So I just want to say that. And then afterwards, we can focus on getting candidates or behind candidates for the next term. But for now, we got to shake up the Democrats. So we got to do more information spreading, more calls for awareness. Unc said to canvas personally, get it like in an info type of graphic thing going on there. I say like a newsletter, a brochure, and show them how not the Republicans, how the Democrats are harming us, and that it's okay to look across the aisle or in another party for an ideal candidate with policies that can benefit us, and not just saying, Trump is going to put us in chains. Hey, Hot Tub Tony, I don't mean to keep you waiting.
No, you good, BX.
Thank you.
I can't really see the prompt though.
Okay, so the prompt is basically, that's because the comments are on. The prompt is basically informing us that the House, passed the Haiti TPS extension. It's based off of an article that I saw on the New York Post, and stating that the House of Representatives voted 224 to 204 on Thursday for temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants, right? To extend it for about roughly 350,000 people. And then it breaks down the vote. So for Republicans, for the 3 year extension, it was 10 Republicans that said yay, 204 that said nay. For Democrats, it was 213, I believe the number is, that they all were for yes. And independent, there was one independent that voted yes. So Republicans were primarily the nays at 204, but all the yays with Republicans and independents equal 224. So that's just an infograph given the announcement of that passing, because to me it passed kind of quietly. I don't know, and I just happened to be scrolling and saw it and was like, oh shit. And so I did this whole, midterm exam thing to inform everybody and get everybody's feel on the situation. Hey, Kiki Lolo.
I got you. So it still got to go to the Senate,
Yes.
and because I'm kind of familiar with it, but I know Trump said that even if it passes the Senate, he's going to veto it, and which means that this bill is mostly symbolic. So I mean, they could stall it out, in which that seems to be what they're doing. Is it's a stall tactic, but I don't see it going anywhere once it gets to the Senate, and even if it does, and he vetoes it, we right back at square one. But that will put us around the midterm election. So it's a strategy for the midterms for the Democratic Party. Is all it seemed like. That's just my opinion.
Mhm. What do you feel about the people who are championing the TPS bill, such as Ayanna Presley? She's up for re-election during the midterm? Do you think it's beneficial to keep her around, or should we,
No, I don't.
inform people why she is? Okay, why do you think she isn't?
Because if you're gonna toe the party line is immigration and prioritizing immigrants. And if you towing the party line and you're not asking for anything in return, because you could leverage that as a foundational Black American representative to get tangibles for our community, but they're not doing that. They're just going with the party line. You can turn around and say, "Hey, if you want me to support this TPS status, this is what I need for my community, and I need for y'all to push this ASAP because chances are that could slide through." But see, she's not doing that. Nor is Raphael Warnock or any other the quote unquote foundation of Black American representatives that we have. So my issue with them is that.
Perfect. Now, can I ask you one question? One more final question.
hmm
How do you think that the extension, if they're allowed to stay to 2029, how do you think it affect foundational Black American communities?
Well, like you were saying, you said when you stayed down in Georgia, you saw a lot of Caribbeans. I see the same thing because I'm here, and what people don't understand about cities like Georgia and some of the other cities that's quietly getting taken over. Charlotte in North Carolina is one of them. That they didn't do the Hispanic strategy with us. They did because these are majority Black cities and majority and with states with a sizable Black population. What they do in those cities and states down south is that they bring in the immigrants that look like us because it's easier to hide them amongst us, and allowing them to stay just gives them more opportunity to undermine us, integrate into our politics, especially because as is seen in Fulton County in Atlanta, you look at that city council, a lot of them are immigrants. A lot of them are not from the city. They have no interest in preserving what we built up over the decades here in the city. So I still see that as an issue, no different from the Hispanics in California or the Hispanics in New York that y'all are dealing with. So our problem is all the same across the country, and it stems around immigration. But that's just my take on it. But I do have a question for you, BX. What you doing on Calla Road?
You know what? I was paying out my whole income to my landlord. I had no housing voucher. My older children were out of the home, and it was me and my youngest. Then we had cable, we had Connect, and the landlord was a slumlord. I didn't want to go back to the shelter, and I wanted to enjoy some of my money after I paid the main bill, rent. And so naturally, I went back to the South, right? Because I used to live in Georgia with my granny, and her husband. So we went to Candle Road. I went to, what was it? I'm gonna say Park on. It was right across the street from Popeyes.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you talking about. See, I grew up over there. That's why I asked you.
Okay. And we stayed there. We stayed there for about a year. One of my older children was having some issues. I was homesick because even though I got family out there, I don't like to impose on anybody, right? So I was like, I'm gonna just go home and. But now my family, like my father, my children, everybody is gainfully employed in their own places. They ain't trying to get rid of their places. They're not going to face homelessness. You know what I'm saying? I think I could go back down to the South. I just won't have my youngest son with me. I'll be moving and shaking by myself. But that's ideal for my career because I am an urban fiction writer trying to get into the film industry. Not the mainstream film industry, but the independent film industry. And I do have people that said, well, Atlanta is the place to be, Atlanta or Detroit. Detroit's too cold for me.
You'll definitely have a lot of content to draw from on County Road. I tell you that much.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring Miss Cheryl into the conversation. Hey, Miss Cheryl, thank you for
Hey,
joining today.
how
Hey,
you
Miss
doing,
Cheryl.
Jax? Hey, Tony. How at the bottom is it Dreadhead? I can't
Yeah, that's
see.
Jazz.
A question.
Yeah.
Tony pretty much
Hey,
answered it when it goes
Conway.
to the Senate, and then if Trump vetoes it, does it mean that they back to square one again, or if he vetoes it, that means that they gone?
Tony, would they be gone?
So they will have to go back and either rework the bill to try to get it passed again, and the process starts all over again,
Okay.
or
Okay.
they'll just leave it alone. But I say this is stalling because they're looking to get as much publicity on it before the midterms, so they can galvanize that pro-immigration vote. That's all this is about. This is performative.
Oh, okay. And about the caucus, this is just an opinion. There's like you said, there's the Black Caucus, the Haitian Caucus, and all of this, and so on and so on. And being that anything black that goes through, they sort of say is unconstitutional. Instead of saying the Black Caucus, shouldn't the caucus be named the American Freedmen Caucus or something like that on those lines? BX.
Sorry, I was writing a comment. So, U.S. freedmen is our proper status, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a matter of making them honor our status. But yeah, we could name it that. We could name the caucus that, as long as it stays in line with because there aren't any immigrant freedmen, right?
Right.
As long as they stay in line with making a distinction between us and them, then I don't think too many. Somebody always got a problem with something. It's over 50 million of us, right?
Right.
But for the most part, yes, it could be the U.S. Freedmen's Caucus. It could be the Foundational Black American Caucus. But those are the only two. I wouldn't even go for ADOS. I have no problem with ADOS. Yvette Clark, not Clark. Yvette Carnell did block me. I didn't even know she know I existed over there on Twitter, but she blocked me on Twitter. But I the problem with ADOS to me is that when you say American, you see these American Indians on this app who are Caribbean, known Caribbean, talking about their American Indian too when we doing the Americas. So it's not that airtight to me. So as long as the way we name the caucus is airtight, that is our lineage and nobody else, I don't think too many should have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So far, I believe freedmen and foundation, those who identify as freedmen, those who identify as foundational Black American and Black American, we doing really good things. So
Right.
yeah, as long and so for those who just identify as Black American, as long as they indicate something that for them, you know,
Yeah, the reason I was
because you
asking
can.
about freedmen is because, okay, to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the Haitian caucus, they can dibble dabble in their own, finances in their caucus, and they can come over and dibble dabble in ours, the black
With the
caucus.
CBC. Hmm.
But it's not vice versa. We can't dibble dabble in ours because we're not Haitian, right? Am I correct
Right.
with that? So
Yeah.
if we just take black out altogether and say freemen, they can't come over and dibble dabble. That's just going to put a gate around it altogether. Am I correct?
So, well, I would say the title U.S. Freedmen is perfect. However, in the description of who they serve, it should include foundational Black Americans, because there were, there are people who are not us who may identify as. There were some white tea people on that Freeman's Wake, if not mistaken. And I don't need none of them, or even one who find out that they had a black ancestor, but all of a sudden, they ain't seen as black, because they've been living under, white teeness for so long. That one drop of thing there. I don't need them coming back. You want them coming back?
No, or I
Right.
know a lot
So,
of us don't like this, or even if we say Negro Freeman, I mean, just something to gatekeep it where it's just us,
okay,
FBA.
so even I get you. But when I researched what were the immigrants identified as, and y'all could double check me. I always encourage y'all to double check me. So there was a time when it would be Negro, which meant us, and Negro of foreign parentage. So at one point in time, they were identified as Negro with foreign parentage. And then they had Negro USA born with foreign parentage, meaning they're first generation Negroes. So to make sure that it's airtight, we always have to put the US. Yeah, Freedmen is just us, but the white tea people with the one drop. So when we say who is eligible to be a freedman, I would like it to specify black or Negro. Those are the two I'm comfortable with. I hope y'all comfortable with it too, just for the one droppers. So they can come back and be like, look, but they haven't been living or subjugated like black Americans have. Why? Because they were able to be cloaked under the white penis privilege. Does that make sense, or do I have that wrong somewhere? I'm always open to the correction.
It does. Can I, if you don't mind, can I add something to what Miss Sharon said?
Of course.
So I agree 100% that we do need our own separate caucus, and we can keep the Black Caucus if the collective wants that. What we would have to be aware of if we were to establish our own caucus would be the mixed ethnicities, because that's where they're going to try to slip their agendas back into our caucus. Because of course we have the numbers to sustain our standalone caucus. They don't. What they'll start to do is with the same strategy, really what they're doing now is they'll find somebody with mixed ethnicity, be it Black American and Caribbean, Black American and African, and they'll slip them in there, and they can always fall back. Well, I'm Black American too. You can't say I'm not, and which is true. So I'm not a big fan of mixed ethnicities being our representative. I'm cool with you. You are part of the lineage, and as long as you on code, I can rock with you. But the same thing with mixed racial people, biracial people. It's always that threat of you being off code and working against the interests of that Black American side. So we would just have to be cautious of that if that was the route we would go.
And I totally can respect your opinion, right? I totally respect it. I can agree with you. But everybody has to be vetted because the raccoons are out here too. Full foundational black Americans that'll throw us under the bus. Look at the Pan Africans.
100%, I agree.
Right. Yeah. Yoda. Oh, but Yoda was trying to get rid of me because I like sugar in my grits at times. And now he come peeking in here. I hope he got his homework.
I'm with Deoda on the sugar and the grits. That's unacceptable.
No, and sometimes I like. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I like a full breakfast where I'm not gonna put sugar in my grits because I'm gonna have some home fries, eggs, and bacon, or pork patties, pork sausage patties, or something. But sometimes I just want something quick and good. Or I gotta tell you, I don't get food stamps, so I ain't got enough for all the extra shit. But I might have a box of grits, a container of grits in the cabinet, and some butter and some cream. And I'm gonna make me some buttercream and sugar, and I'm gonna make it like a hot cereal. I can't help it. I've been doing that since I was a little kid. And thank you. Nikki says I used to do that, but not anymore. Okay. Hey, Toyota.
Hey family, sugar and grits is always gonna be a diabolical combination. And yes, I do have my homework.
Oh, good. Go ahead. Let's. Miss Shovel, did you land, or did you have any more questions?
No, I land, but I got something funny for y'all. Y'all know my first time trying grits was about 15 years ago. I grew up off of oatmeal. In Virginia, I grew up off of oatmeal.
My mama is from Virginia and she grew up off of oatmeal. She won't eat oatmeal today. The reason why me and my sister grew up off of oatmeal too is because my daddy would get up and make our breakfast for school. And we used to eat a lot of hot cereals and then go out to school, right? Um, and she would cook big Saturday breakfasts and then big Sunday dinners. But we always had dinners. But I mean, when you had everything, like, family dinner on Sundays and Saturdays, my mama would make the breakfast. But today, she can't look at oatmeal. And they migrated from Virginia to Brooklyn. But she said she can't eat oatmeal. She don't want to see oatmeal. She wants to see no hot cereal, none of that. But yeah, so I get you. That's not really unheard of, but it ain't too common either. And Kiki Lolo says she grew up on oatmeal, grits, and cocoa wheat. But I don't like the dark, and I used to call it cream of wheat, but I think it's not farina. What's the name to the dark wheat hot cereal? That I can't eat that. I don't like it. I ain't prejudiced or nothing, y'all. I just don't like it. I like my
What, Raisin
farina. I
Bran?
like my No, there's like farina, cream of wheat. They have those are real. Those are like white, right? Grits, that's white. But they have a hot cereal that's like farina, except it's really dark. And I want to say Retina, but I'm not sure. Regular cream of wheat is really good. Yeah. But the cream of wheat is not the dark one, right? Because I don't want to be confused. I have farina in my refrigerator right now.
Yeah, cream of wheat is the white one.
Okay, good. Okay. So I don't really remember the name. Here comes Kiki Lolo. Wait, did you get up here, Kiki Lolo, or you requested by mistake? I sent you an invite in case you want to come up anyway. But we gonna go ahead
And I do got
go ahead. You want to do your homework now?
and, yeah, and I do gotta apologize to the family
Why?
because
The sound went out. What happened? It was about to get good. What's going on? I can't hear you.
I should have been
Oh,
out
no
there
problem.
protesting front lines because on Haitian caucus and why is
You going in and out.
it doing
So you're saying that Floridian FBA, did they stomp the yard and you just didn't appear, or you're saying that y'all could have done a bit more?
we could have done a bit more
Thank you for that. That's his sentiment, not
because
mine.
why that's why I was saying it's not just no because I'm tired of hearing everybody keep saying that New York for messing. It's not just New York. They overran a lot of our states. Like it's not that we have this bad problem that I don't think people realize how bad of a so-called immigration problem we truly have. Like, because for the simple matter reason is majority why are our black caucuses Haitian run? Why is this happening? And then it's like anytime we try to point this out, specifically me, I'm called xenophobic down here in my home city because I'm like, hey, bro, we got a bad immigration calling me. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. I thank you for that. Thank you for being honest and sharing your opinions. It's kind of hard. Some things we do let us slip past us, but there's more than one way to protest. Don't think you got to carry a sign when you could make an email campaign and get some things on their desk as well. So now it's about corrective measures. So I just want to tell you, Dayota, from this New Yorker, New Yorker, to your Floridian ass, right? Get into action. Make sure that if there's any email campaigns I heard work better than petitions, make sure you sign and share as if you created it, as if that's your baby. You hear me?
Yeah, I just was for the type, man. Auntie, good morning. It's
Good morning.
8:35 on the west side.
What up,
Okay.
Dynasty?
What's going on? What's going on, G Tub? What's going on, Dayota? What's going on with y'all, man? With y'all players, man? How y'all doing, man?
Hello, Dynasty. How you doing?
Oh, Miss Cheryl, man, the great Miss Cheryl. How you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's kind of same. Was kind of like drizzling a little last night, but it's rain. It's the sun is out and brightening out right now, though. You know. Yeah, what we got going on for the prompt, though, Auntie?
It's still a little rainy and gloomy up here. So, we label my room the university, right? And every
Mm-hmm.
now and they call me the professor. And I don't have students, I have attendees because we all learn together, right?
Yeah.
So what this is that when I heard, and I'm also a journalist. So when I heard that the House passed Haiti's TPS extension, I gave, the attendees some homework, a midterm exam. And so what we're doing is discussing how the Haitian TPS extension would affect foundational Black American communities. And even though it passed the House, it still has to go through the Senate, which is primarily Republican. However, as you can see from the House vote, there was 10 Republicans that voted yes to the TPS extension. Representative Ayanna Presley championed the extension, right? But from what I can tell, she is foundational Black American. Sorry. So is she beneficial to keep around as a representative because she's also up for re-election? And that's my door. I'm listening. I'm gonna answer the door, but I can hear you talking.
They gave a goddamn extension to these damn Haitians, man. To stay in the U.S., man. Oh, I thought that Trump didn't sign an executive order, man, for him to strike down that extension. So what's up with what happened with that?
Now, what it is that the House came up with with this bill to kind of give them extended protective status. It still got to go through the Senate, like BX said, and whether it passes or fails the Senate, House, the Senate, Trump already said he got veto power, so he gonna veto it. So this is basically it's symbolic in one way, and it's trying to galvanize that immigration coalition on the Democratic side because all this gonna play out over the summer, which will by the time it gets to Trump desk to veto it, it'll be around the midterms, and that's what they want to use it for. They ain't really trying. This not a real bill that has any chances of passing.
Yeah, because they know they ain't got no Black American support on that, man. We ain't supporting none of that. These folks is all out here in front of the grocery stores. These folks are all in the parking lot with these clipboards talking about Sign your name right here. We give you $5 or $10, man. And for the most part, I see our people, man, we walking right past that, man. And then you got some of our people, that's down bad, you know, or whatever, the homeless or whoever. And they up there, trying to get people to sign the papers. But for the most part, man, we see the play, man. You know, um, that's last election showed us, man, what time it was, man. When these people was out here, man, messing up the economy. You know what I'm saying? Shit then went sky high. You know, we had all these different type of issues from these different ethnicities and these damn foreigners, and they think that we just all trying to, blame all the foreigners about this stuff that we went through this last election. When we know it was Kamami and old Biden. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember during the pandemic, you know what I'm saying, on his way out the door, Trump was passing out them stimulus checks and everything, because you couldn't buy no toilet paper, you couldn't buy no damn you know, paper towels and all kind of other shit like that, and everybody flooding the stores, and everybody was in panic mode. So he did that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I believe that Biden and Kamami, what they play was to try to bring in a new, which we already know, they try to bring in a new voting block. So now it's basically like Trump got to clean up the mess that in them little 4 years that they did. They put a damn gash in our economics in America, and all this money been passed out to all these different other little dilapidated countries and shit. And now these folks don't want to go home though. G-Tub, they don't want to go home, man. And you know what I'm saying, stand on 10 and man, and dethrow their corrupt governments, man, and build up their homeland. So now we got to take time out our days, man, and get this shit straight and get these people back to their homeland. You know what I'm saying? So they can do what they need to do. But they want to be all in the way and strain the economy. That's why that's why everybody in America is in the situation they in, starting even from the top with the elites all the way down to the bottom, to the homeless that's sleeping outside in the tents. And it's just we got to clean this shit up, man. You know what I'm saying? And black folks saying, if you ain't talking about nothing that's gonna benefit us, man, we ain't buying none of that shit they selling. They can do all the squirming and screaming they want, and coalition this and coalition that, bro. We ain't rocking out with that. None of that, man.
Well, this
We
they
tired of playing with these
opportunity.
folks.
This they
Yeah.
opportunity to tell us, to show us how hard they work. They can literally go back and fix that economy. Because we talking about, I think
Mm-hmm.
they say with the Haitians is 330,000 of them that they talking about sending back. So it ain't a whole lot of them that they send it back, but that's a lot for the island of Haiti. So go back. That's your chance. You ain't got to go to Port-au-Prince where it's going down at you. It's other parts. Go back. Show us how hard you work. Clean that shit
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Prove us
Absolutely.
wrong.
Yep.
But you did bring up something real good because I see the same thing you see. They go into the poor areas of the cities and they are they registering a lot of homeless people to vote and then getting them to pay to sign off on a lot of the petitions. I see that out here. They be having the little stands set up everywhere in the hood.
Yeah.
So that's crazy that they do it. I thought that was just out here, but I see that's their strategy right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Did they the drop? Because he was
I think he had to
got.
do something,
I'm
Auntie.
okay. Because he was supposed to give me his homework. I'm on board. We got to get these people out of here. And also, I have another call to action and I'm supposed to be putting the links in the chat, but let me just say this. The Dignity Act is basically amnesty, and it also wants to provide a path of citizenship to the dreamers, aka the DACA. And what that says is that if the undocumented or illegal remained out of trouble for a certain amount of years, and they could pay a $7,000 restitution fine, they should become citizens. So we don't even have to go the black route to get some people on board because that's unfair to all citizens and it's unfair to those who are trying to get or who have came the legal way. Like, and I think that's primary. What? What? The Dignity Act? He vetoed it, Big Stepper? The Dignity Act. Because that's a bipartisan bill. There's Republicans and Democrats on board. Okay, so the Dignity Act, we can't really vote on it, but we can tell our representatives to make sure they don't vote on it, especially if they want to remain in office. So that's the call to action to just contact your representative and tell them, oh, the Haiti stay. So, but it didn't go through the Senate yet, or did it? Am I late? I'll look it up and I'll have a correction on my part for myself when I come back. Because I know he said he would veto it if it passed the Senate, but I don't think it went through the Senate yet. So it's like it's like they split it up. The Supreme Court is supposed to rule on it, but the House and the Senate is voting on it. So I don't even know what they're doing. If y'all can see that right there, my comment, copy that to your clipboard. It's going to take you to a page with two calls to actions. One is to help New York FBA, and one is to tell Ghana, the Caribbean, CARICOM, all them people, and the Pan Africans, keep your hands off of our reparations. Stop talking about our collective net worth. Don't mention your history with ours because basically they're having an immigrant experience in America. They're not having a Black American experience in America. We're the only ones to have that. You heard a lie? What lie, Stepper? Oh, you're going to go look? Okay. So, yeah. I don't. So that's the call to action. Big Stepper,
I
you're
have
going to
to
go
do my
look.
research, but how long have Haitians been coming over here for TPS status? Has it been like over 30 years or something like
Thank you,
that?
Big Stepper.
Not for
I
this,
could look it up.
not for this
Go
current
ahead.
TPS status. No, that's it ain't been that long for that. They started coming over in numbers in the '60s. Then again, they had that wave that came over in the '80s into Florida. But for this current TPS status, maybe a decade, if that.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah,
hadn't been that long.
yeah. And you know, you hear so many things and like they was talking about the Somalis, right? And they were saying, or somebody was saying that
Thank you, Big
they
Stepper.
can't go back home, that their lives are in danger because they turned on their own people. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, when they get.
That comes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Biz. Go ahead.
No. So I just want to acknowledge Big Stepper looked it up and she says the Senate did not deny or approve the Haitian extension stay and that Trump didn't veto anything yet. It's still in primary stages. So she's just saying that some people don't know what they're talking about. So she looked it up and what we've been saying is correct thus far, right? And I just want to say this, Miss Cheryl, there's some people, not only Haitians, but you could take the Africans and probably some of the Caribbeans that cannot go back home because they betrayed their people. And that's why they're here. Something like maybe a contract with our government. We do know people like the Showers Posse was sanctioned by the CIA and all this other stuff, right? So something like that, or I don't know. That's the running thing. Yeah, they can't go back home. Some, not all. But go ahead. You probably know more information, Hot Tub Tony.
Yeah, what you said it correct because the Somali is under a similar TPS because a lot of them did betray their government. Same thing with a lot of the Afghans and the Iraqis. All of them fall under their individual TPSs. Um, that doesn't mean that that's a permanent status. It's supposed to have an end date on a TPS, but what we see a lot of times they do get extended. And each administration has their discretion on whether they're going to extend that TPS or not.
Most of the time when you see it come up for a vote, it's symbolic and they let them stay. But this is the first time you really seeing like a pushback from either side saying, "No, y'all are not in danger anymore. The situation on the ground in your country has stabilized, and you can go back home." Which should have been always the case for every group that was given TPS status. Once your homeland gets back right, you got to go back home. This was never for you to stay here permanently. Sorry about that. This was never, yeah, the TPS status was never for them to stay permanently.
Love Dynasty. And Mama Ani says exactly, send them back, and even if it ain't, you got to go. That's what I'm saying. Even if, because I think they're supposed to go back after whatever caused them to flee, whatever WAR was happening. They are to return. It's with the expectation they stay here until the WAR is over. But in the event it isn't, and your TPS was only 5 years, then you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. There are other countries, and we see America will negotiate with other countries to take certain people. That's what's going to happen. Also, I would like to know, or like us to get another call to action together to make sure that these TPSs are no longer than 2 years, because I overheard a sort of Pan African type of panel, and sometimes I just sit there real quietly, like, because I know my name in some rooms, but if they don't call me out, I sit there and I just listen. I ain't got to tell everybody I'm in the room, right? Um, and one was saying because of the 14th Amendment word domicile. One lady was like, "Well, I don't think it's right. They've been here for 5 years. They have a domicile now or some mess with the TPS people." I'm like, look at these bees. And then I'm like, okay, we should make sure that they don't hit the 5 year mark on these TPSs because they're watching our hearings and stuff. It does concern them because for them it will change the trajectory of what's going to happen to them. However, they don't even really fully understand domicile and want to now try to use it for certain groups, talking about they've established a domicile. How could illegal people in the country establish a domicile? They weren't supposed to be here anyway, so who's giving them jobs?
That's the point of contention right there, is the people that employ them and the people that house them, because there are laws currently in place that says they're not supposed to do that, if especially not so much with the TPS status, but with the illegal people. Like, you're not supposed to be housing them. That's against the law. Unfortunately, the United States does not enforce those laws, and that's where the problem is. You got the laws on the books to get them out of here. You just know you don't want to enforce it.
Exactly. So I just want to say I don't want this to be an all day live. Everybody has some very great feedback. Everybody, if you are an attendee of the university and gave your answers, then y'all passed. And thank you to my surprise visitors who came up, like Hot Tub Tony, and gave his insight, and Miss Cheryl, right? And Dayola, he's my class pet, but he ain't give his homework. So now, if you choose to take the mission, I want y'all to examine who is more likely or who has been proven to give the illegal and undocumented work and lodging, so that we can see what we're going to do for those folks. Because now it's time to pivot and make sure that they're really uncomfortable here when the corporations and the landlords start getting in trouble for helping these people out. So if y'all choose to accept that assignment, it's not a test. It's just going to be a topic. Thank you. Thank you. A homework assignment. The Hot Tub Tony said it was a good assignment. A good assignment. But the next time I go live, and I'm going to try to go live by Friday or Saturday. But right now, I'm going to go rest, and hopefully one of the platforms that I like to go into is live, so I could go over there and cut up or something, contribute to another conversation. Any final words, Miss Cheryl?
No, no. I mean, I basically had questions and y'all answered them.
Ah, glad we can help. Hot Tub Tony, you have any final words for this live?
Now, this was a dope live. I like that. And I definitely like that assignment because I'm curious about that too. So I'll be checking in for the next one.
Thank you. Dread, any final words? Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, no final words. No final words. Good live, good live. And it's important that people know about this. I think you were the first person to let me know that the TPS status extension bill had passed in the House. So yeah, very important topic as well.
Yes, very important. And now it's time to, well, we're not going to change our trajectory because the trajectory is to get them out of here. But we also have to make sure they're not comfortable while they're here winning TPS and work extensions, right? Who's helping these people? No, not well. With the TPS, some would be able to legally work because they have work cards. But I mean the illegal, the undocumented, so-called undocumented. How are they finding it so comfortable that I can scroll past the Pan African live and somebody's telling me the illegals or telling their panel the illegals have established a domicile because they've been in the country 5 years. How are they taking and but they're hard workers. They ain't say they was receiving benefits. So how are they hard workers and they're illegal and stuff? We need to turn our sights on the other folks too. The aiders and the betters, y'all. Yup, and I'm gonna end it there. Thank you, Murdoch. He says for us to enjoy our day. Mama Ani says exactly. Send them back, and I think I read her comment. Let me see. To everybody who stayed in the room in the chat, I thank y'all for joining. I'm gonna try to go live again by Friday, and we'll touch on that assignment. I do have some prompts left from National Women's Month, History Month, National Foundational Black American Women's History Month, but I had to put them down for a while because we got busy, with the protests and other things. So we will have some really cool topics and some really cool foundational Black American women to relate and convey their story. Also, another assignment. If you did not turn in your assignment on these beautiful foundational Black American women, right? Because some of y'all missed some assignments. Please make sure you have them ready. And I noticed Simon, who's always on these lives from 6 o'clock in the morning. I haven't seen him yet. He hasn't even liked to share the post. That's how I know he online. And so he gonna get it. I'm expecting him to join and have a plethora of women and Black Power couples to present. Hi, IGZ. How are you?
I'm good. Just getting my bearings, getting my
Hmm.
workout on. And I saw your
Hmm.
space.
Thank you. How much did you hear? Did you hear any of the space?
Oh,
Because I was just about to close down. But I could give you a quick rundown if you like.
yeah, what you say?
I said I was about to close down, because other platforms probably are going up, like the Black American Enforcer. So I like to visit their lives too. But how much did you hear of this one?
I heard about the TPS status that it's actually hasn't gone through, and it really hasn't been passed or nothing yet. Like, just no one's. It's in a neutral phase, put it like that.
Right. Well, it's about to go. It's in the second phase, I guess, because it got to go through the Senate. But at the same time, the Supreme Court is hearing something from about this too to decide. I don't know what I had it up earlier, so it's like in two different phases: the House and the Senate. But the Supreme Court is actually reviewing it too. So we got to see what happens. So I had three questions that I had asked everybody to answer who usually visits my platform about their Haitian TPS extension. That was, if the extension is passed, how would it affect the foundational Black American community?
It won't.
What are the predictions for the second phase of the bill, which would now has to go through the Senate? And it's primarily Republican, but we have seen Republicans are sort of being Democrats. There's 10 that voted in the House, yay, for it to stay. The Republicans and Democrats are working on the Dignity Act together. It's like 40 co-sponsors for that bill. And also Ayanna Presley, even though Yvette Clarke is involved, I'm trying to highlight other people who are also problematic with Yvette Clarke. And Ayanna Presley also championed the Haitian TPS. And as far as I know, she's of the lineage. So I just wanted people's thoughts on those 3 points. You care to take the challenge or no?
I'll take the challenge. So just say, can you just do them one by one again?
How do you think that the Haitian TPS extension would affect foundational Black Americans, our community, if it passes?
I just think that just be another group that shouldn't be here out of our way. That means that takes away, basically, they can't no longer get any of the money that's supposed to go to us. They can't start no businesses, get no homes, and they'll just be donezo because a lot of them are actually on TPS status. They've been here since the 60s. Some of them came in the 60s, some of them came in around the 80s. They thought they could be like the Cubans when the Cubans came and they would receive some type of set asides, but they didn't.
Yeah, but thank you for that. So the second, so you're saying that if they get to say there should be some strict barriers
No,
for
they
them.
don't need state. Period. They're all under TPS status, right? And when
Right.
you're under TPS status, you're saying that something is wrong with. Basically, you're here as as a refugee, and something is wrong with your home, where your life could be endangered. The thing is, a lot of these people travel back and forth to Haiti, and they know they do. I know they do. I have a homeboy who is Haitian, and he travels back and forth to Haiti. Even when there's like a storm, they travel back and they go back and forth to support their home, and then they come right back home. If that's the case, then you don't need a TPS status no more. If you can go back and forth, put your little paperwork in and come in the right way.
Right. And so, what do you think? What is your prediction? Do you think it'll pass the Senate with a primarily Republican vote?
It should. It should. It should. I mean, if you look at now, well, groups TPS, they're all a bunch of has some to scam and game the system. The Indians, they even though they're under another category because of that H1B1 visa and H12 visa, but they still been scamming, and some of them did seek TPS status. So what happens to them?
And the final point I wanted people to chime in on is Ayanna Presley. She kind of championed the Haitian TPS extension. She's also up for re-election. There's a lot of people that's problematic to us as Democrats in sanctuary cities that are up for re-election. Do you think it's beneficial to keep Ayanna Presley in Congress?
Hell no. You get rid of every last one of them. These people are a detriment to us. They champion the wrong thing because they need votes. Like they need these immigrants for votes, and I don't think immigrants should be allowed to vote. Period. At all. Technically, they're not citizens. Even when they become naturalized citizens, they shouldn't even be allowed to vote.
And so, since I was closing out, we decided that another assignment would be to look into why or who is hiring illegals, undocumented, however you want to put it, non citizens, and who is housing them. Because it's time to turn our attention to them, right?
Are they?
There shouldn't be a reason for them to feel so comfortable that they probably waving them flags
Yeah.
while HATING America, but they ain't trying to leave America. It's too comfortable. So I'm not talking about the legal ones who came here the right way. I'm talking about the majority ones who was allowed in the country when Biden and Harris had it. Like it was just a field day. Them and some other ones too. If I had my way, everybody would go to their homelands and build their homelands. Like let Black Americans come there and be able to do some stuff over there, right? Ghana won't let us get in their government, but Ghana's over here touching our ancestors' burial ground, right? Haitians, I ain't going over there. I don't think there's no 5-star accommodations. I went to Jamaica a few times. Lovely island. But I'm a tourist, so I stayed in lovely hotels. But at the end of the day, they telling us not to come to their island. And it was a whole nother Caribbean that disrespected them. But I want to see everybody do well because why are more Jamaicans off the island than on? But everywhere they go, they're a proud Jamaican with their own food and culture and their own flag and this and that and the third, getting in everybody's business, the same as the Africans, the Nigerians. We the smartest out of the immigrants. Like everybody just go home and put them smarts to use in your homeland. Build some infrastructure. And I want to put this out here too. There was an educator, I believe he was either from Guyana or Grenada, who was on a you must deport type of order. They had to find him, but when they found him, he was some type of educator at a school.
You talking about that Jamaican dude?
He wasn't Jamaican though. He was Caribbean, but not Jamaican. But I'm saying all of that to say this. They are leaving behind children that they should go back and empower. So they're leaving children to kind of dislike not only them, but America. And what are you teaching our children that we can't teach our children? Like, take those smarts and go empower your youth. Or my descendants, my great grandchildren, right, may face the same kind of mess of being sabotaged if we don't get this under wraps. I don't mind people coming for an opportunity, but the ideal immigrant comes, they get the opportunity, they positively contribute or stay out of our way, and then they go back and empower their community. I don't see too many doing that. And so some things really have to change. I don't know. Do y'all agree or disagree with that sentiment?
No, I think they should go home and come home.
I just stay home, don't even come for the opportunity, right?
No, because even when they come for the opportunity, it's found out that they've been scamming. They've been letting their people in illegally, getting them in here, getting them jobs and stuff. So they need to go home and stay home. They don't want to come here and do right. They want to try to get as much as possible, any way they can, and bounce.
Right, but this is okay. So yeah, moving forward, yeah. But I'm talking about with the man. Supposedly, he was gonna come here and get an opportunity. I was never upset with that. It's what they do after it, right? So I'm on board with you with that. But I'm saying we have a group of people who come here for an opportunity and they never take their skills and trade back home. So it's going to cause a bigger problem, right? The disdain that they may have for us in those islands, right? Because fuck the Africans at this point. What they have in those islands will be enhanced because why? Their people aren't going back to enrich the communities with the opportunities for education and employment that they got here. What I'm saying is they're leaving a breeding ground for disdain for Black Americans. They're feeding into it. You ever had a friend? I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I realized all my friends migrated to the South before I did. And I was mad, like, damn, the South is taking all my friends. But it's all still love. Why? Because I could get on the Greyhound, I could get on the Amtrak, I could take a plane, the Chinese bus, whatever, and go over there. But there's some people really stuck in them islands that will never have access to some of their family members again. And then they think we spoiled. So I don't know if I'm explaining them right. Dre, you get what I'm saying? I think the abandonment of their people to come and help who they think is helping another people causes a bigger disdain where there shouldn't be one. Because they should just have gotten the opportunity and took their asses home. They left their students to rot, but over here saying they educators to ours. Like, what type of shit is that? That's my whole point. Did I explain that correctly, Dredd?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you said it well.
Thank
Well,
you.
BX, could I ask you one more question? Or ask the
Yeah.
panel, you in the panel? Do you feel that
Right, they become bitter.
all these foreigners that are coming over here, do you think they're feeling uncomfortable now?
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Good,
what they need to
good.
feel. Because I feel uncomfortable that I went outside the other day and I'm noticing that the supermarket, I couldn't find the kielbasa sausage, y'all. But I seen a whole bunch of chorizos where my kielbasa sausages used to be. That means that the Latinos have taken over that supermarket and it's primarily Spanish products first. And it's also on the container line. And like, damn, there are black Americans here. And I know some Spanish, but they ain't my first language. I wanted kielbasa sausage, and I had to walk around aimlessly and figure out where my kielbasa was. They changed the demographic. Good afternoon, D Sahara, of places. I mean, it wasn't exactly just foundational Black Americans here, but it was a nice little mix, and I could find English written products.
Do you
So,
feel that?
I
Do you feel that YT is feeling the same way that we feeling?
some, because some YT are these immigrants' greatest allies, and I think for some really sinister reasons that I don't want to bring up because I ain't got no proof, but it's just really eerie when you think about it. But you can't trust them because as you can see, look, there were 10 Republicans that voted in the House to keep the Haitian TPS. I don't know. I want. Can we find out who were the 10 that voted yes for the TPS extension? I want to know Brian Donalds. Like, did he have a vote? Um, it passed the House, but it did not pass the Senate, and the Supreme Court still has an aspect of the TPS that they have to review. Yeah, so some white T are, some white T don't want Hispanics in their box, in their identifier. I seen white T man on Twitter saying that the Hispanics being in their box makes their crime rates all messed up. And I was looking like the white T people want to delineate. I was like, you got to talk to your government, buddy. But yeah, some do and some don't. I think a large majority of them are still trying to keep the immigrants here. Why? Because technically, white tea are immigrants too.
They also need them for the votes.
Yeah, the votes too. Can't forget that. Yep.
That's the
Does that answer
that's
your question, Miss
that's
Shovel?
their main function for the Democrats is that they need those votes.
Yeah, that did. Yeah, because I see us, how we doing, and I guess because I don't really go on no white panels and listen to them, but I was just wondering how a lot of them felt. But I did go on a panel earlier where some um Latinos were fussing because something happened in Houston. Some Houston cop is being charged for being racist or whatever, and it was a Mexican cop, and I seen them on there, and they said people need to quit combining Mexicans with other Latino groups, and they were upset about that, and they was like, it's not all of us. So I see them trying to delineate too. That was kind of funny.
That sounds like the LGBT.
But I got to tell you, the Puerto Ricans delineated from the Hispanics, right? In New York, at least. So there's an association that's titled the New York Association of Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislators. Conveniently, they all hosted. Well, that group. I didn't check the date of their inception, right? But conveniently, after Dr. Camilla Moore came to our reparations hearings and stressed lineage based only, that association that I just named, let's hear it again, the New York Association of Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian legislators held a workshop called Reparations, the urgency of reparations now. When did Puerto Ricans not become Hispanic? Why are they delineating from the Hispanics? And if I was a Mexican, Dominican, a San Salvadorian, a Nicaraguan, whatever Latino group is out there, I would ask the Puerto Ricans, what are y'all doing? What are y'all about to get that we ain't going to get besides not being deported? Because there got to be something else in it for the Puerto Ricans to delineate from the Hispanics. Trust me.
Didn't Trump say he's thinking about selling their island?
I hope so. Did he? I've been saying it forever. I've been putting it in the ear for months now. Did he say that,
Yeah, he
IGZ?
did say something like that. He was
I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up.
because if that's true, then every Puerto Rican here gotta go. I think it's New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait. Is he gonna sell New Zealand?
No.
Oh
He's
no, New Zealand wants them?
yeah,
Is that what
yeah. He'll give Puerto Rico to New Zealand.
he might have been
I
joking.
hope he ain't.
Right. So here's my thing. Even if he does, he said it was. Oh, when did that happen? The Sahara. So let me tell you this. I don't think they should get. So they're not fully covered by the 14th Amendment.
Puerto Rican?
AOC should.
Puerto Rican?
Yeah, Puerto Rican.
No, they're not.
I don't think.
They're not.
Right. I don't think AOC should ever. And she's Puerto Rican, so-called Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican.
Ever try to latch the Latinos onto our reparations claim, but she is trying that, right? I do think that they should be deported, never to be allowed here. If they commit murders and all this other stuff, which they do. I'm in the South Bronx. You already know. Okay? So there has to be some changes to the way they're treated when they do things here, because they're not like us. Like, they should never be treated as if they can't be solved. Right? Now there are some Puerto Ricans who are good, who get it. But for the majority of them, I can't help them. They've done too much. I'm ready for the island to just be gone. So yeah, they should be able to be deported like the rest of the Latinos. But if I was a different Latino from them, I would say, what do y'all got going on that you want to delineate? Because we already know your territory, so you get certain perks. But why all of a sudden now you want to emphasize Puerto Rico or Puerto Ricans aside from the Hispanics? What's going on here? It's got to be something that's going on there. And I think the other Latinos should look into it. But that ain't my business, though. It's all Disa Harris
BX,
that
are
they can
you
go
playing
to.
country music?
You know what I have? I have the I have TikTok does have what they call enhancements, I think it's called, or effects. And they have different things that I could do, like the sound effects, or I could play music. So during all my lives, Miss Cheryl, I have the music. Oh, no problem, make it make sense. I have the music playing softly in the back. I turn it on before anybody gets in the room, and I wait until I get a panel coming. Because I don't go live sporadically, sometimes I don't even get a panel, but I will read off the information that I have for the topic, just because I do put my panels on YouTube. So I do want them to stay involved, in the conversation. So this is preset music from TikTok. And I play it during every live. I try to, at least. Yeah. But if there's no more questions, I could go ahead and shut it down. It is after 12, and I'm going to go ahead and make me some sausage, because I had to settle for the Carolina sweets instead of the kielbasa. When I was looking, and all I saw was chorizo. Okay, is that it, y'all?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, IGZ. Thank you for joining. I'm going to try to go live again by Friday. I'm going to say peace, love, light, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans, or anyone of the lineage, meaning you could trace your ancestors to a USA census of 1870. Yeah, love, light, peace, and reparations to us, right? Dred, you have anything to say?
No.
Because
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yep, and tell Simon. Anybody see Simon on these panels coming up? Tell him He better have a very good doctor's note, okay? Or hide, because he know he owed me about 10 homework assignments by now. All right, y'all. Be one family.
Peace, peace.
Peace.
Regardless of whatever you believe, you don't have to agree with everybody. Nobody has to agree with you. And getting on social media trying to sell unaliving, that's not a smart move. That's what I'm sharing. You don't have to, you can think I'm the biggest clown in the world. That's fantastic. I'm not sensitive because I get on social media. I know people are not going to agree with me. But I want to say, I said that just in general, but it was no specific person. I did, believe me, because if it was, I'd have said host, you said this, and blah.